Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Hope you're all well on this Tuesday. Now before we start, if you see me squinting, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just that where I do the recording, the sun in the morning is in a place where it blinds you, and at the moment the sun is, someone's parked their car and the wing mirror is reflecting straight back into me, so I've had to pull the shades as well, so that's why it's dark and dingy this morning. Anyway, it's nice to have the sun out. So today we're going to do part 4 of the Tony Martin story. Now this is a project that he got involved with an Italian guitarist called Aldo Giuntini. The band's called the Giuntini Project. And to date the band, this project has released 4 albums. 1 without Tony and 3 with. Produced by Dario Mollo, who is another guitarist and producer who did work with Tony, which we'll have a look at next week. So the first singer that came out was a guy called Charles Bower, and he'd sang on the first one, but by the time he come round to doing his second album in 1995-ish, he'd got Tony Martin involved, and a guy called Kit Wolven also was sort of co-produced with Dario Mollo. So we'll have a look at these 4 albums. So coming in at number 4 is the Giuntini Project Volume 1. Now, apart from Charles Boyer doing the vocals and Aldo Giuntini on guitars, I don't know who else is on the album, because I couldn't find. I found a little bit of information about the project, but who's playing on this album, I haven't got a clue. So the first track on here is called The Price of Love. Now this is a really good track. Charles is a good singer, but it isn't Tony Martin. But the guitar work from Aldo is pretty good. I do like that. Then we get a track called No, Those Days Are Gone. Very good vocal actually from Charles on this. He's done a really good job. Some pretty good guitar playing on this as well. I do like that. Make Me Feel So Good. It's okay. It's not anything special. Just like the next one, The Longest Day. It's just a solid track. I don't dislike it. It just doesn't want me to get me excited. My favourite track though is a track called When the Dream Has Died. It's got some lovely keyboards on this. It's got some ambient sound on it as well. It's pretty good. I like that one. Then we get a track called 2099. It's got some really good guitar work here from Aldo Giuntini. I quite like that track. W plays Bark comes next. It's just 1 minute 30 seconds of a bit of Bark done on the guitar by Aldo. Masquerade is the next track. It's a really good track, but I'd have loved to have seen Tony Martin singing it, because I think he'd got the powerful voice to deliver it. Manic City, it's probably one of the weaker tracks on the album. It's okay. Higher Ground, nothing wrong with this one, just a solid rock track. Then we have a track called SW. Aldo's guitar work on this is pretty cool as well. Then we have a track called Behind the Veil. It's okay. I would have loved to have heard Tony singing it though. Okay, this isn't a bad album at all. Great playing on it. Pretty half decent vocal, but I think when Tony started singing with the project, it gave it some extra depth. But on the whole, it's a pretty good album, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, Coming in at number 3, this is from 1999, and it's Giuntini Project II. This is the first album with Tony Martin on. Again, there's not much information on it. Guitars Aldo Giuntini and producer Dario Mollo and Kit Wolven. I wouldn't be surprised if Dario played on this, or Kit, because I think they're both them musicians as well. First track on here, Sacrifice. Love this. Great vocal from Tony. He just gives something extra to these tracks. The drums are good. I don't know who's playing on that, but it's a really good track. Then we have a track called Dead Ringer. Solid from Tony as ever. Some great guitar work on this. It seems like there is two, and it could be Dario and Aldo. Pretty good. Letters from the Dead. Now this is my favourite track. Typical sort of Tony singing. Gives it atmosphere and gives it that extra depth that makes it a really strong track. Superstitious is next. Another really good song on here. A nice guitar solo on it, and of course Tony belting out them vocals. Resurrection Day, solid track. Some driving riffs here from Aldo. Absolutely fantastic track. House of the Spirits, it's one of them little intros with keyboards and atmospheric that goes into Spiteful Ghosts. It's a great instrumental track, this is. It's just some great guitar work. And having listened to the stuff that he did with Dario Mollo, you know it's Dario Mollo and Aldo Giuntini on this. Pretty good track. Very good. Then we have Cyberchrist, a fast, furious rock song. Dynamite vocals from Tony Martin. Does what it says on the tin. Shadowlands, like this. It's got some great riffs. Great bass line on this. And this has got a Tony growly, gritty vocal. Saved by the Love, it's okay. The drum mix isn't quite there for me. Doesn't do much for me. Too much, too late. It's okay. Then we have another instrumental called Baghdad. Absolutely brilliant. Shows the talents of Aldo. Very, very good. The Evil That You Do. Really strong bass line. Great vocal as well. I like that. Reactor. Great vocal from Tony on this one. And the last track is Satan Rise, and second favourite track on here. It's just got that real edge to it. It's really good. Tony's vocal performance really added to this album. Some of the drumming's a little bit hollow in there, but it's a damn good listen, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.5. So coming in at number 2 is the third album, and it was released in 2006, and it's funny enough called the Giuntini Project III, but it has got names of people that are on it on this one. So we got Aldo Giuntini on guitars, Tony Martin on the vocals, Fulvio Gassini on bass, and Enzio Secomandi on drums, and Dario Patti on keyboards, and there's one drumming track with Fabio Rizzi on the drums. So the first track on this one is called a little thing called Gold Digger. Now this is solely produced by Dario Mollo, and the sound is really starting to be more gritty that you get used to when we talk about Dario next week. It's more heavier sound. Tony sounds great on this. The bass line from Fulvio is really good. It's a great start to the album. Not Connected is next. Some great guitar work from Aldo, really start strong. My favourite track is Que es la vida. Classic This shows Tony Martin's great vocal range. We see it time and time again with Tony. Delivers every time. It's a fantastic track. Early Warning. Again, it's got that vocal range of Tony. Some driving riffs on this one. It's an absolute killer track. Full Paradise. Phenomenal guitar work here from Aldo. Absolutely terrific. And Tony's on doing the business. Then we have this instrumental called Tutmosis 4 Tarantula. It's my second favourite track on here. No singing from Tony, but it's absolutely killer. Some great keyboards, some great guitar. I love these rock instrumentals. Okay, then there's a cover of a Black Sabbath song, and it's one of the songs that Tony sang, and that's Anno Mundi. I love the song anyway. It's one of my favourite songs that Tony did in Black Sabbath. The guitar is superb, and Aldo does a great guitars on this. Not up to the master of Tony Iommi, but it still sounds a very good version. Then we have Dysfunctional Kid, good hard rocker, fast tone, fast drums, great riffs, absolutely great. Morning Star, really good track, a little bit down tempo, but it's really good. I like that track. Troubles just keep coming. The start of the song's good, but it sort of fades out a little bit. The Closest Thing to Heaven, some great riffs in this, and again it's just a fine vocal from Tony. Then we have another instrumental, Memories in the Sand. It's a nice sort of ballady instrumental, some great guitar playing on that. Tarot Warrior, it's alright, it's just a typical sort of closing track of an album. What one can we do to fill the album? So it's not too bad. A really strong album. This mix was a lot better than that previous two. I think when you get one producer just doing the work, it seems to just add to it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. So my number one is the most current album, which came out in 2013, and it's the Giuntini Project number 4. So we've gone from the first album up to the fourth as the best, which doesn't happen very often. So on here we have got, of course, Aldo Giuntini on guitars, Tony Martin's on vocals, Fulvio Gassini is on the bass again, Fabio Rizzi on drums, also Roberto Goldi does some drums, and guest vocalist Liz Vandal on Bring On the Night. Perfect Sorrow is the opening. This is one of the best tracks on here. It's probably one of my favourite tracks by this sort of project. Absolutely killer bass line, driving riffs as usual, super track. Born in the Underworld, absolute killer, my favourite song by the Giuntini Project ever, of all of them. Absolutely killer. Tony's on fire. I do like that drums from Fambino. He's a really solid drummer here. It's great stuff. Shadow of the Stone, great song, punchy, solid. Cured, I love the double bass drum on this, really rolls through the track, gives it a lot of guts, and Tony delivers a great vocal. I Don't Believe in Fortune, another track with driving riffs from Aldo, a very strong vocal from Tony, really good track. If the Dream Comes True, it's alright, not my favourite track on here really. It's a little bit Whitesnake, Storms on the Wind sort of thing. Didn't like that track either, believe it or not. Then we have an instrumental, and it's called The Rise and Fall of Barry Lyndon. What a track. Great instrumental, some lovely keyboards at the beginning, it makes it dramatic, and some great guitar from Aldo. Bring on the Night, great riffs, solid sort of rock track, not the jealous kind, ripping riffs at the start. Absolute killer track from singing from Tony on that one. Saint or Sinner. It's okay. Drumming's good. Then we have another instrumental called Last Station Nightmare. It's atmospheric. It's got some nice keyboards. And then we have a cover song of Megadeth, How the Story Ends. This is a song off the Endgame album. Tony does a good job on the vocals, but it hasn't got the Mustang grit. But it's a great interpretation. Even the keyboard bit is really different. Then we get the last track, Truth Never Lie. Great track down the album, solid heavy metal with a great vocal from Tony. I think this one's my favourite because it's got a bit of everything. The production was right. A lot of the songs are pretty good. It's just good old-fashioned heavy metal, but recorded in 2013 with some power metal and symphonic metal mixed in. It's a good heavy metal heavy rock album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay then, go and check them out if you've never heard them. All their stuff is on YouTube. So go and have a listen. Next week, part 5 is when Tony went and did some stuff with the producer of a lot of these albums, Dario Malo. So that's for next week. But coming up very soon is a retro ranking and a viewer's request, and it's my good friend from Corby, fellow Northamptonshire chap, a regular on the live stream, very witty and just an absolute diamond. Nick's vinyl buddy. He wanted me to do some Iain Jury, and I know he's a big fan, as he was showing some of his singles last week. So that's coming up very soon. So bye for now.